we have Kawhi Leonard news to react to. And I haven't been able to say that all summer, that we have news to react to, so I'm very glad to have it. We have to dive deep into Pablo Torre's new report that basically accuses the Clippers of cheating.
What the hell?
Exclusive. Kawhi Leonard has signed a $28 million endorsement deal for a no-show job with a fraudulent tree planting company funded by $50 million from Clippers owner Steve Ballmer, according to documents obtained by Pablo Torre. Quote, it was to circumvent the salary cap, per an inside source.
What the hell? I feel like this is the second time or maybe third time in the course of 14 months or some weird random news has came out about the Clippers.
Yes. And about Kawhi Leonard. This man he has the reputation of being this like low maintenance guy who doesn't cause you problems, comes in, treats the job like a 9 to 5. There's always a story about Kawhi Leonard if you really think about it.
And of course it happens to the Clippers. Like this is just peak Los Angeles Clippers. Something funny is going on. You guys are messing with the salary cap out of all things. Like, yes. And I will say, I don't care about any of the reporting when I say this. I believe Steve Ballmer is a crazy man. And so like if you could have told me that Steve Ballmer did anything, I'd be like, yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I can get there.
So I watched this whole episode, I think you guys did too, of the Pablo Torre podcast where he talks about the story that he's reporting on and breaking. And the short version is, in 2021, the Clippers, and specifically Steve Ballmer, had very close ties to this company called Aspiration, that their whole thing was bullshit. It was a ridiculous company that they partnered up with corporations to have a carbon neutral footprint by basically planting a bunch of trees for them and giving them good PR that they're making themselves carbon neutral by replacing as many trees as they are carbon emissions, which is like a nonsense principle to begin with. But that was the whole point of this company. And Steve Ballmer was exclusively tied with that. He had a lot of investment and connection with the CEOs of these companies. And in 2021, there was plans for this company, Aspiration, to be one of the lead sponsors of the Clippers. That fell apart because the company went under, but they still owe a lot of money to the Clippers and they have some business ties. Well, as a part of that rollout, Kawhi Leonard is sponsored by Aspiration, given a $28 million contract and $20 million in stocks to Aspiration. And he is listed with a bunch of other celebrity endorsements they did. They were endorsed by Leonardo DiCaprio, Drake, Robert Downey Jr., all these A-list celebrities. And these A-list celebrities are public facing. They made Instagram posts, they did commercials, all kinds of stuff, as you would expect from a normal sponsorship. Kawhi Leonard has never once mentioned Aspiration by name. He is their biggest sponsorship by far. His $28 million plus $20 million in stock is, per Pablo Torre's inside source, 4 times as much as all the other celebrity endorsements combined from those big names I said. And Kawhi Leonard has done absolutely nothing, appeared absolutely nowhere, spoken about it absolutely 0 times. It looks to be a deal that nobody would know about if this company didn't go bankrupt and have to show their documents.
And it's crazy because in the report, they were like, they're breaking down the contract and like what Kawhi has to do or what he can and can't do within this thing. He didn't even have to like actually send a tweet himself. He could have just liked something and it would have counted as some type of endorsement.
And he didn't even do that.
For Aspiration. You could have liked, you could have retweeted, you could have left a comment, anything. And so for Kawhi, who probably doesn't even like run his socials like that, or he isn't even on social, you could have had somebody on your team do all of that, and it just never happened. And like, so there was also a clause where they said that Kawhi could decline to show up at any like Aspiration meetings or decline anything that they ask of him if it went against his beliefs. And then they never specifically defined what his beliefs were. So at any point he could just be like, nah, I don't really rock with that. And then like, okay, like I guess you don't have to do it anymore.
They broke down the whole contract on the show. I encourage you to go watch the full episode of the Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast. It was a great breakdown, great reporting. And yeah, like Donovan said, the contract clearly stipulated all these creative ways of saying he doesn't got to do shit and he's going to get a lot of money. They explicitly stated he doesn't have to do a single thing in many meaningful ways to show that this contract is stamped as a nothing contract. Here's $28 million plus $20 million in stock. And the question is, why does this matter? Obviously, because this happened at the same time as him signing an extension in 2021 where he left money on the table. He did not take the full amount he could. And if you guys remember back to that time, a lot of people were like, he's doing the Clippers a favor. So they can, continue to load up and have a good team. And then here we are with this, a company that has weird ties to Steve Ballmer, giving Kawhi a weird sponsorship that makes no sense at all. And Pablo Torre got an inside source saying, on record, on her talking, somebody from the finance department saying, this is to circumvent the cap.
Yeah.
And this is like a humongous no-no in the NBA,
Yes.
obviously, because we've seen this not happen all the time, but it's happened quite a few times in the league, several times in the league. And every single time that's happened, the league has done some major like belt to ass repercussions, whether it be like taking away draft picks and just placing unreal, like rescinding contracts and placing unreal, like, unreal belt to ass type of thing. So it's like, I'm curious to see. Immediately, I think you'll have on the screen right there, the Clippers, of course, are going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, this didn't happen. This is not true. And also through this happening or coming out over the last 24 hours too, Mark Cuban went ahead and was like, yeah, Steve Ballmer is just entirely too smart to leave just an obvious message trail like this, which I do agree to a degree, but also this feels like very tangible stuff.
Yeah. So there is pushback where people were saying, so a big part of the whole report is that one of the clauses in the contract was that if he were to leave the Clippers, that's the only way the contract could be defaulted on. So he doesn't got to do anything at all. This money is yours for free as long as you're a member of the Clippers. And that was a clause. So people were saying that sounds like immediate hush money. Like what?
Yeah.
What the fuck? All you got to do is be a member of the Clippers. Sounds like Ballmer would put that in the contract. And like you said, Mark Cuban was saying that it is normal for a player to have a sponsorship with a team sponsor and the stipulation be a part of the team because they only sponsor this team.
Yeah.
And that makes sense on the surface, but you see all the time that players have sponsorships with teams and they don't even show the jerseys. Like, they do, like when Dame is on Hulu, he has like a Hulu jersey. There's a lot of stuff like that, especially with local sponsorships too, where they have a blank jersey because they don't have the rights to the team. I find it hard to believe that if they really wanted to have Kawhi Leonard, if aspiration really, really wanted Kawhi Leonard, I find it hard to believe they'd give that much of a fuck if he's a Clipper or not.
Yeah. And this whole thing is like, obviously it's insanely important. Not just because it's like, oh, like it's crazy they pay Kawhi, under the table. If you are going against the CBA, which in any league, the CBA is the Constitution. Like that is law. And so like if everybody agrees, like, hey, you are only going to pay players based on this specific amount, and then you go out and you pay people outside of that specific amount, you are challenging the very fabric of what the entire league is built off of. And so like that's why like Ballmer doing this and Kawhi doing this, if the NBA and their investigation comes out and they're like, yeah, this actually happened, it's gonna get extremely scary. And I'm telling you right now, if you are a Clippers fan, go change teams because you haven't had the success to back it up. If you get caught with your owner and your star player who barely plays and they're doing some wild salary cap stuff, there's nowhere to go. There's no shining light. This is your time now. If you think that anything is about to happen out of this, switch teams. Make your life better because it's not going to get easier after this.
Yeah, and again, you said the point. When the NBA does their investigation, which I'm sure they will do, this is a big deal. Can't wait to see the details because the Clippers have came out and they've denied it vehemently. They've basically said, hey, listen, if Aspiration's scamming, it ain't got shit to do with us. Yeah. They're the scammers. They're fraudulent.
They said we got scammed too. It's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. That is their defense because Aspiration scammed them. They owe them millions and millions of dollars. They're also owed money in their defaults from their bankruptcy. So that's their defense. But again, if you go watch the Pablo Torre thing, there's so many details that while that sounds good on the surface, they have a lot of explaining to do about certain things that make it seem more likely than not that there is.
You know what's the funniest detail about all this? Through Aspiration's whole goal and their whole end goal and why they exist as a company, they built one singular tree. They planted one singular tree, reportedly.
Yeah, the person that Pablo said when they were talking to from the company said there was one check that the trees are actually being planted in her time with the company. Yeah. So big fraudulent company that maybe they did fuck the Clippers over. The part to me that I can't get over that there's reasonable defenses that you could say, okay, maybe it does make sense that a company that's working with the team wants to sponsor a player on the team. So if he leaves the team, they know I'm going to work with them. Okay, I can understand that, I guess. In the reportings post bankruptcy of who they owe money to, as long as the teams, number one is the Clippers. They have like $300 million. Number two is Kawhi Leonard, above all the celebrities like I mentioned. It's owed out to an LLC named KL2 Aspire LLC.
Yeah.
That
Kawhi
LLC
Leonard
was
too.
founded in November 2021,
Yeah.
right when this deal started. So this LLC was set up
man.
exclusively to pay out Kawhi Leonard through Aspire. These motherfuckers put Aspire in the name of a new LLC. So that makes it even fishier that this whole thing was made exclusively for this in this deal that doesn't make sense outside of the context of cap circumvention.
Listen, that's just Uncle Dennis being very, organized.
Or very organized.
He needs to know this money's coming from here, this money's coming from here, and I don't want anything to get lost. I need to know what accounts I need to go to, and that's fine.
That's hilarious.
It is also funny because like I've like you kind of also seen like I've seen some people make the assumption of like, well, isn't this kind of happening with everybody, like especially like when LeBron went to LA, everyone's like, the Lakers are putting him, like they're sponsoring his Spring Hill, right? They're in his production. It's like, this is a whole like entire level of salary cap circumvention.
This is money for nothing.
Yeah.
Like there's always going to be a team being involved with players outside of sports, and like in ways that like, you can tangibly sell as like making sense for the owner. They're doing connections like off of like schmoozing. This is straight up, here's money to do nothing. Yeah. And the company giving money to nothing was given money by Steve Ballmer. Like there's so many connections that, you can't really justify it for that way.
And the reason why, to your point earlier, it's so scary to be a Clippers fan is because, of course, you're a Clippers fan. You're like you play a specific role in the NBA, but also like looking back and being present and looking at the current state of your team, they're not in a bad position at all. They made a ton of good offseason moves with John Collins, Brook Lopez, and all that. But moving forward, you don't have any future picks at all. And what tends to happen when it comes to consequences for moves like this that we've seen in the past is there's some like heavy restrictions, whether it be like potential contracts being voided or the NBA rescinding your future draft picks. They already don't have anything. So we could be in a situation where we see the Clippers aren't able to build off of their team with any type of young talent or youth, which they don't usually do a good job anyway. But in general, like when it comes to the state they're in right now, we could see them without a draft pick for the next like 8 years or so.
Yeah, and especially you said they don't have the draft picks normally because they trade them for win now pieces. So less ammunition to trade. Who knows how long Kawhi has left? Like he's where every year it's 40 games a season. Like any year could be the one where he's cooked. So if you're going to be entering a new era without him, without any young prospects, like you said, and then your picks are going to be gone for years, like it could get beyond spooky. Like we talk about the Brooklyn Nets post big trade when they traded for KG and Paul Pierce and how they gave all the picks to the to the Celtics, and they were just desolate for young talent for a long time, having to build from, I would say build from the middle, but it was more like build from the basement without the benefits of the basement.
Just scraps.
Yeah. It could be that situation. Like it could be the same thing.
I also saw like, because after the episode came out, Pablo Torre's been going on a whole bunch of other shows, obviously, to talk about the story. And he went on Dan Patrick's show, and he said that some people afterwards, he's like, my like tip line has been blown up with people like, hey, look into the Knicks and Jalen Brunson because he gave up $113 million.
Yeah,
and hearing that, I was like, listen, man, it is what it is. And like, obviously doing this reporting, it's so important, obviously like in the NBA landscape. But if he finds out that the Knicks did something with Brunson, stop snitching, man. stop. You're a snitch. If for the Clippers, honorary reporter. For the Knicks, snitch.
Yeah, and the funniest outcome would be if the Clippers really had nothing to do with this, and Kawhi just has some weird deal with aspiration on his own. Like he's like Tony Soprano forcing these companies to give him money for no reason.
Bro, who is his uncle, man?
They run the underworld of Los Angeles.
Jeez.
Because again, if you were to believe the person that Pablo Torre had on the episode, which is an aspiration accounting former employee, she said this money, this $28 million, was treated as the biggest priority in the budgeting, that Kawhi must get paid. Damn. All these other people were going bankrupt. We can figure out ways to skimp them and pay them in the future. Kawhi must get paid. And it hung over the whole company. They talked about it in a like, don't ask, don't tell type of thing. And at points, somebody told him this is to cap circumvention. Like this was apparently to her a big part of the company. So if you were to believe her, and some reason they are paying Kawhi Leonard as a priority, either Bomber is cheating or Kawhi is Tony Soprano, and they run these motherfucking streets, and they have to give them money to avoid getting their knees broken.
Either way, some scamming's happening.
Yeah, either way, Kawhi is a hilarious individual. Like, no matter what comes from this, Kawhi is interesting.
I just it's, oh my goodness. Yo, they actually went around the cap. And it would be, once again, all of this is the most like Clipper thing because you are cheating and you don't win at all.
Yeah.
You don't get any of the benefits of going out.
Damn,
and
like you tell me you don't even
rules.
like make any long playoff run or nothing like that. You don't really get.
They had one.
And without Kawhi, naturally,
yeah,
the player
I
you cheated
guess.
for when he wasn't there.
Yeah, and so it's also funny because some people were like, what if Paul George whenever he was saying like, listen, I want what Kawhi got.
Yeah.
He said, I need an aspiration deal right now.
What do you really mean by that, Paul
Exactly.
George?
Yeah. What are we talking about?
So this is obviously going to be a story to monitor.
Mhm.
It's either going to get swept under the rug real fast by the NBA because they don't want this Pandora's box opened, or this is going to be a story that defines the next year because Adam Silver is the type to be very harsh on stuff like this. Like, I think he's made it pretty clear. Like, when these players gamble, they're immediately shunned a second later. Like, he's kind of a no-nonsense as far as this stuff. 'Cause I think you can tell he very much cares about the reputation of the NBA. And with all the... He keenly understands the intersection he's at now, being somebody that's opened up the doors to gambling, opened up the doors to wide access to players and media and the internet and all these things. He knows he's been like very liberal in that way, but also understands the spotlight that comes with that. Seems like he knows to allow nothing and wants to make sure that the company's brand is protected. So if this is real and the Clippers are, if there's a shred of evidence to point towards them, I think they're cooked.
Yeah, because like if the NBA like does do the investigation, it's really going to be like a reopening of the investigation because remember the Clippers were under investigation for tampering.
Yes.
And so then like around that time, Silver came out and said he views salary cap circumvention as a cardinal sin.
Yeah.
And so this is like you said, this is something that obviously like Silver cares about, and he is like, even on like on punishments, like we're starting to see, especially when it comes to reputation. Like if you go to the Ja thing, Ja technically didn't break any laws, right? And he didn't do anything explicitly wrong, but you playing on Instagram Live with guns, it makes everybody look bad. And so now we're gonna give you this punishment. And some people were like, yo, 25 games for not breaking the law seems kind of excessive, right? Like a quarter of the year seems a lot. But like you said, the NBA has always had this weird like perception and this weird a reputation, and whether that be like the racist connotations like in the early 2000s, but like every decade there's something that they're always dealing with. And Adam Silver, who is somebody who has worked in the league office for a long time, obviously has been the commissioner, was the deputy commissioner. He very real like understands how the league is viewed, how it has been viewed, and,
100%.
and knowing that like in the next 10 years, this is how people are going to view it if you let this slide.
Exactly. A lot of baggage comes with being the black sports league. There's just so many underlying racist currents with that they don't want to play into in different ways. And this isn't that, but I think what you're saying in that way because of that plays into the whole idea of them caring as much about perception as anybody. Yeah. Like the NFL lets some shit slide. Like I think they know their reputation is Teflon, so they let these motherfuckers go out there and play that have crazy charges. They slap a 6-game suspension on the wrist and say go for it because we know we're Teflon. We're not really getting that type of criticism like that. Like the worst thing, the CT stuff was a big deal. Ate that shit off their chest. They're fine. NBA, like you said, for all the reasons you said, has always been harshly criticized. They know that matters a lot for them.
Yeah, they need to go ahead and lay some type of law down in my mind because it's just time and time again where the weirdest things are coming from Kawhi and his camp, and I guess specifically his uncle Dennis, because remember back in 2019, 2020 when he was a free agent, he between the Lakers and the Raptors and I guess the Clippers, who were probably the team or were the team to go ahead and subside to his request, he asked for like a house. He asked for like a private jet. He also asked for ownership in whatever team that he wanted to sign to as well.
Yeah, that's another reason why this looks fishy, because we've heard rumors about this type of stuff.
Exactly. And like it's been fishy for years. Something legitimately has to be true. That's why I'm like, we're gonna see some ramifications and some consequences taking effect.
There's too many dots to not notice. Like
Exactly.
we had report. I remember there was a headline that none of this could be proven at the time that Jeannie Bust said no to a legal request by Uncle Dennis.
Yes.
And there's also reports that he wanted $25 million lined up in sponsorships from the Raptors owner if he were to stay. And these were just like reports that were
How
like
much?
tied. 25 mil. Oh, same number. So like this type of
He
stuff.
added that extra $3 million for inflation. Uncle Dennis is on it.
Nah, not inflation. Los Angeles taxes.
either way, he said, I need just a little bit more.
Yep.
I have my number. We're gonna get to it.
And when there's smoke, there's goddamn fire, and I smell some heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone's going to jail.